In the winter of 1833, an enterprising young Welshman, Robert Thomas, set foot on the shores of Bengal. In 1851, Robert Thomas and Charles Martin formed the partnership firm of Thomas Martin and Company to deal in indigo and act as general produce brokers. The firm started operations at Newmart, 8 Mission Row, Calcutta, once the residence of General Clavering, member of the Council of Warren Hastings. In 1854, Charles Martin retired and the company was renamed R. Thomas and Company. After the death of Robert Thomas in 1865, the name of the firm changed to Thomas and Company, a short while later to J. Thomas and Company, and finally to J. Thomas and Company Private Limited in 1947. As general produce brokers, the firm also auctioned at different times varied commodities such as sugar, saltpeter, raw silk, cotton, shellac, lac dye and raw jute. There was a dabbling in coal and a brief flutter in bullion. On 27th December 1861, the first tea auction in the country was conducted on behalf of the firm by Messrs. Mackenzie and Lyall Company. Auctions took place frequently thereafter, though there was no fixed timetable. It was Robert Thomas's nephew, W. L. Thomas, who had come to India in 1863, who discerned the latent promise of tea and committed investment and time to this new venture. The company diversified into jute broking in the early 20th century. Jute became a prominent commodity of trade during the turn of the century, along with tea. The firm latched on to this commodity as production increased rapidly the world over. In 1902, the firm bought Hope and Company, a gully broker, to spur growth. The company had gone through the rough and tumble of the World War, the Great Depression, the American stock market collapse, and stood the test of time to become a private limited company in 1947. The company also witnessed the swing in fortunes in jute and shellac during the ensuing decade and prudently decided to pull out of this business to focus intensely on the core business of tea. In 1962, Sri V.V. Parekh became the first Indian chairman and the company became completely Indian in 1972 after the British left. The firm moved into its new modern building, Neelhath House at Calcutta, Neelhath meaning Indigo Market, in 1963. The foundation stone for this was laid in 1961 by the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. The company then embarked on an expansion of its presence across the country to consolidate its business. In 1964, the Cochin branch was opened, Guwahati in 1970, Kannur in 1971, Siliguri in 1976 and Coimbatore in 1980. Later still in 1993, the Bangalore office was started when it ventured into the coffee business. The British played a major role in the development of plantations and promotion of trade and commerce in South India as well. By the turn of the century, the tea trade really began to grow following the increase in tea production, and the need for establishing an auction centre to channelize the sale was felt. Cochin, with its natural endowments, was destined to become a centre for tea auctions in the south. The auction started on a monthly basis, evolved into a fortnightly feature, and much later became a weekly affair. The auction centre was originally housed in Fort Cochin, fondly known as British Cochin, and later moved to the present location at Willingdon Island. With the rapid sales growth and broadened client base, the visionary directors of J. Thomas constructed a modern office building as early as 1966, and this was inaugurated by Sri Bhagwan Sahai, the then Governor of Kerala. This building was subsequently extended to house spacious tea tasting and sampling rooms. The company diversified into rubber procurement in 1966, linking the growers with tie manufacturers, and thereby diversified its portfolio. After coffee auctions were partly privatized in 1993 at Bangalore, the company entered this field as well and is today the leading coffee auctioneer. The Kunnur Auction Centre came into existence in 1963 after the establishment of Cochin. The proliferation of small farmers and bought leaf processors in Nilgiris facilitated the emergence of Kunnur as another major tea trading hub in the south. J. Thomas entered the arena here much later, in the year 1971. The office initially functioned from California, a residential complex, and later on moved to another premises near the Kunnur Club. Thereafter to Potter Avenue, and finally to its present location. Despite modest beginnings, the company is presently amongst the largest brokers at this auction centre as well. Coimbatore was chosen as the third tea auction centre in the south in 1980, and J. Thomas was one of the founder members of this establishment in November of that year. J. Thomas's first South Indian CEO was Mr. T.C. Satyanath, who was largely responsible for establishing its business here. He was ably followed by Mr. T.K. Madhav, who led for almost 2 decades. Mr. A.K. Atal headed the operations for some years thereafter, before Mr. Ashok Batra, our current chairman, took charge and later handed over the reins to Mr. Vijay Shankar, who now overlooks our operations in the region. Today, J. Thomas and Company Private Limited stands tall among the tea trade fraternity as the largest tea auctioning house in the country, handling about 200 million kilograms annually. It remains the oldest and largest existing tea auctioneer in the world, home to over 150 employees located at the various branch offices at Kolkata, Siliguri, Guwahati, Dibrugarh, Kochi, Kunnur, Coimbatore and Bangalore. It has the largest pool of trained tea tasters and auctioneers apart from rubber and coffee professionals. J. Thomas is a uniquely structured company where only current employees are the shareholders. This ensures independence, transparency and professionalism while empowering employees. The company looks forward to the future with a great deal of optimism, inspired by its glorious past.